Let's learn about some of the basic rules first of radicals and exponents. Okay, so this is the first one that I have in here. We'll discuss this one first, okay? So whenever you have something like this, the number outside, the tiny number outside is called the index, and everything here is called your radicand. Now, if your radicand in itself have some exponents, then you can convert the whole expression into an exponential expression. Okay, how do we do that? So, for instance, you have something like this: x to the power of 3, and then you have 4 in here. You can this is a radical form. You can change it into an exponential form. So what you got to do is you just have to copy the whole radicand, which is x cubed, and then whatever is the index in here, that becomes a divisor of your that it should be 4. That becomes a divisor uh, of your numerator of your exponent. Okay, so that's one. All right, let's try another one. So if you have x to the fifth. Okay, so this is square root of x to the fifth. So now the first thing you need to do is copy the radicand, which is x to the fifth, and then the exponent you have to divide by the index. Well, you don't see an index, so remember, if you don't see an index, that means it's 2 in there. So that's the default. So this is your radicand. Okay, now let's do it backwards. Okay, what about if I give you x to the power of 3 over 4, okay? And we want to change it into a radical form, something like this. Well, then you prepare your radical sign and then copy your base and the numerator, okay? So x cubed. And then whatever is the denominator, that becomes your index, okay? So let's try another one. Y to the power of 6, 6 seventh. And so this would become radical sign y to the power of 6, that's the numerator, and then the index is 7. Okay, all right, so that's the first part, understanding that. Okay, now the second part is, what if your fraction exponent is greater than 1? We need to simplify it. Okay, so let's say you have cube root of x to the power of 5. So now we can rewrite this as x to the power of 5 divided by 3, right? Now, well, 5 over 3 is greater than 1, so you kind of need to separate the whole and the fraction, the part of the whole in there. Okay, and then we will eventually convert it into a radical sign back in. Okay, all right, so what would that look like? Well, 5 over 3, that's going to be x to the power of 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3, right? Because this is the whole number. Well, that's going to be equal to 1. Okay, so therefore, we can rewrite this whole thing. Remember, when you're adding exponent, it's the same as writing it like this: x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 2 thirds. Okay, remember, when you multiply exponential terms, if they have the same basis, you need to just add them. So 1 plus 2 thirds, that's the same as 5 thirds. So therefore, this can again be rewritten as, this is a whole number exponent that will stay out, and this one right here, okay, take the radical sign, x to the power of 2, because that's the numerator, 3, and it's the index. So this and that, they are the same. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more example, and I mean, I'd like you to try this on your own. Okay, before moving on, pause this video before moving on to the second example. Okay, now this is the second example though. Let's say square root of x to the power of 5, y to the power of 4. Okay, so now I'm gonna change this into exponential form. So this would look like x to the power of 5 over 2, because you don't have an index here, and y to the power of 4 over 2. Okay, well, you have two of those, so we need to simplify them. Well, this one can be simplified easily. All right, how about this one? Well, the x in itself becomes x to the power of 4 over 2. That becomes a whole number, plus x to the power of 1 over 2. So 1 over 2 plus 4 over 2, that's equal to 4 over 2. So basically, we're really separating it into something that can fully divide 2. And then, of course, the y 4 over 2, that becomes y to the power of 2, right? Now, this one here, the x to the power of 2, oh, I should not put the plus sign there. There should not be a plus sign. Okay, so now that's like that now. So now the x to the power of 4 over 2, that becomes x to the 2, and then x to the 1 half, and then y to the 2. So everything that has a whole number, they are outside of the radical sign. So this becomes x squared, y squared, and then this part right here becomes x to the power of 1 index 2, or in other words, x squared, y squared, squared of x. So this is the simplified version of this problem. Okay, so this is the first part of the video. The second part will be working with these other problems in here.